What if 1 year from now you are 40% happier? That's not fucking magic. That's science. According to positive psychology, 40% of your happiness is driven by daily mindsets you choose and the actions you take. Not your past, not your DNA, but how you live on purpose. And that's exactly what we do in Thrive Midlife. Hey, I'm Coach Kira. I created Thrive for women over 40 who are done doing it alone, sick of numbing or second guessing, and finally ready to build the confidence, connection, and meaning in this next chapter. Thrive is a 6-month science-backed group coaching experience that blends positive psychology, emotional regulation, neuroscience, creativity, and a wildly supportive crew of women. Inside, you'll get a full personal life assessment, 3 one-on-one coaching sessions to map your unique path with me, weekly group workshops with real tools, skills, and mindset practice, and a kickoff retreat in Madison, Wisconsin this fall with me. Think apple picking, pizza farms, goat petting, cider-fueled breakthroughs, and lots of cheese. So if you're looking for a place to learn, laugh, cry, unlearn, grow, and finally feel seen, empowered, and moving you forward, this is it. Learn the tools, feel the joy, build the friendships, find your worth, and start living like you fucking mean it. All of the information about Thrive is now available at thrivemidlifeprogram.com with the early bird discount through May 31st, 2025. Get in there. Life is weirdly a lot harder than we've been told. And midlife? That's a whole other can of worms that I was completely unprepared for. But here's the good news. There are so many new skills and mindsets that we can learn to make even the toughest days a little bit better. You just haven't learned them. Welcome to Thrive with Kira, a smart and square podcast for women in midlife that teaches the skills to get more joy and love in your life. Join me weekly as I teach science-based, smarty-farty topics and break them down into bite-sized lessons that you can apply to your life, all while sharing my own shit show life stories that you can learn from. I'll be talking regularly about getting more joy on a daily basis, thriving in midlife, yes, you can, figuring out menopause, healthy dating and relationships, building self-worth, growth mindset, adult friendships, and also just easy mindfulness, so we can stop just surviving and start learning how to thrive. Hey there, Sugar Pants. Welcome back to the grand finale of my podcast series. Why did no one warn us about this midlife shit? Midlife truths that hit hard right here on Thrive with Kira. Now, over the last 4 episodes, I have been digging into all of the messy, ragey, glorious midlife realness, and I've got another great truth for today, our final episode. You can build the most Instagram perfect life that you thought you wanted and still wake up one day like, who built this shit show? And why is it wearing my name tag? This isn't the life I want. Let me tell you a little personal story, because I haven't done a ton of that on these podcasts because they have been quick and to the point, but usually I'm much more rambly. I share a lot more stories about myself and my experiences and what I've learned along the way to hopefully save you from a little bit of the struggle and pain that I have put myself through piss poor decisions, just not knowing better, and not asking for help. One of the coolest things I did when I was younger is I actually worked on cruise ships, which was a super stretch for a girl from a small town in Wisconsin. I had actually never seen one in real life, only on the Love Boat, which I loved because who didn't, right? Who didn't? All of our favorite stars, it was fantastic. But I went to go work on cruise ships, and one of the very, very best places I visited in about 1996 was Costa Rica. Now, I know everybody talks about Costa Rica now, but at that time, it was pretty quiet. It was not the tourist place that it is now. And I fell in love with it. The food, the people, the animals. I'm such an animal lover. I absolutely loved it. And it was the first time I got to see a monkey in the wild. I got to see a sloth. I was in heaven. So my first retreat, by the way, I'm about to have retreat 28. So my first retreat was in Costa Rica, of course. And my main goal for many years of my life was to move to Costa Rica. So finally, in 2017, Danny and I had been together for a couple of years, but I talked him in to moving with me with our dog, Rex. And we set out to move to Costa Rica. We were kind of open and hoped it would work out and we would stay for a really long time. And we didn't. We stayed for about 3 months and there was a lot of positives, but here's the truth, I was pretty miserable. I did not think things through. I kind of thought if we plunked ourselves near the ocean, surrounded by monkeys and animals and yummy food, I'd be good. Turns out I wasn't. We didn't have air conditioning. My starting to be, now I know, perimenopausal ass was, oh my God, annoyed and hot all the time. We didn't have a car. So it was not easy to get into town where we were to meet new people and build community and just even do grocery shopping. We went there to live the simpler life. And the biggest wake up call for me was maybe I didn't want as simple of a life that I had been preaching for all of these years, that I believed since I was like 23 years old was the life that I wanted. I missed my friends. I missed getting shit in 2 days from Amazon. I missed air conditioning and feeling a normal body temperature. Our Wi-Fi would go out all the time, which was super hard when you are working on a business remotely. There were many, many things that I will say Costa Rica does offer, but I did not set myself or us up for success. And by the end of it, I was straight up miserable. But I kind of came back, tail between my legs, going, here I thought that I was making a huge life change. And instead, it was like a huge life hiccup. 3 months somewhere, which, by the way, we had phenomenal moments and ate phenomenal food. And I threw multiple retreats, which were actually some of my favorites. It was certainly not completely a bad time. But that leads me to today, that I think that the craziest shit about being in your 40s or 50s and hitting midlife is the identity earthquakes. It's the person that you either thought that you were or always thought you were going to be, and it just didn't work out. We never talk about the wake up call that happens after kind of all of the distractions of our 20s and 30s go. And we're kind of forced to look at our life choices and what we have been working so hard on, whether that be a career, a family, a hobby, a business, a podcast, music, whatever it is, whatever your passion is, that maybe that's not the end all be all. Maybe that's not actually going to be my whole identity. And if that's true, who the fuck am I? When I came back from Costa Rica, and even while I was there, I had to sit there and go, if this isn't who I am after literally so many years of wanting to do this, 6+ months of planning this move, right? Like this was not we just got up and went, right? We had planned it, but we had done everything right and it just still didn't work out. It's so fascinating in midlife that one day we just look around and realize the career that maybe we worked our ass off for feels dead inside. The house that we dreamed of maybe feels like just a big mortgage that you don't want anymore and not the dream. Maybe the relationship that you have been in for years feels like just a stale sandwich that you don't want to throw away, but you don't really want to eat. The routines that you did that once made you maybe feel good or feel accomplished don't feel good anymore. And I think the biggest one is coping mechanisms that we used to get through our 20s and 30s. I'll be honest, as a girl from Wisconsin, I was a solid ass drinker for years. For years. But probably at least 5 years ago, my body was like, we're not doing that anymore. if you want to run a business and live a life. Anybody else? But these coping mechanisms that we used, just keeping ourselves preoccupied with other people and other things, they don't work anymore. It fucking sucks. I get it, right? Like, we were really just drilling through our lives, probably not happy, but not noticing too much. And midlife really makes you stand up and notice. And although I know that chaps your ass, I know that's not much fun, but I also think it's that gift curse thing again. I think that this time in life helps make us want to align with who we really want to be or really are versus kind of what we've built out of survival, what we learned from maybe our family that doesn't fit anymore, all of it. And it's not that anything is wrong on paper, it's that you have changed and the life you built didn't get that update. So why does this midlife realization truly feel like a midlife crisis, right? Like midlife crisis is a saying now for many, many, many years for a reason. And a lot of it is because we were sold a myth that if we work hard and we be a good girl and we make good choices and we don't cause a scene, that happiness will magically appear. Like a pizza delivery or DoorDash, but for emotional fulfillment. So what happened is most of us went to try to tick off the boxes. And by the way, I've worked with singles for years and years and years. I didn't meet Danny until I was 41. So it's even harder when you feel like you're not ticking off those boxes. But this is a little, hey, good news for the single ladies. Even when you do tick off the boxes, there's a very good chance in midlife you're still going to have an upheaval. You're still going to look and say, great, I've now have the good job, the nice house, possibly a relationship, a pet that I love, whatever it is, and you're still lying awake at 3 a.m. thinking, is this it? Is this fucking it? Is this all that it is? Once we peel away the shit and the distractions, we're forced to look at, is this my life? And am I okay with it? And if I'm not, well, most of us don't go, and what am I going to do about it? That's where coaches come in. Most of us just go, well, fuck, and then feel really, really sad and cue the internal crisis of, am I broken? Am I an ungrateful asshole? Is it too late to start over without being a cliche? Can we do that? By the way, you can. You can start anything over in your 40s, your 50s, your 60s, even your 70s. You can learn new things. I mean, there's people who start running marathons in their 70s. Not what I want to do, but I'm glad that they do. That's fantastic. But here's the deal. It's not a crisis. It's growth. It's your soul. It's your brain. It's your body sending a frantic text like, listen, the life you built was perfect for who you thought you used to be, but we've moved on. We've updated that software. And let me tell you, you're not ungrateful. You're just evolving. And here's the plot twist that they don't really cover in a lot of self-help books, which is grief. Grief for the life maybe you had, grief for the fun and friendships and the easiness of maybe your 20s, grief for maybe the family you wanted that didn't work out, the relationship that you were hoping for that didn't happen. When we are in our 20s, we are hopeful and wide-eyed and like ready for life and we're kind of hungry for it. And by the time we're in our 40s, we're like, fuck this noise. Life is hard. I'm tired. What's the point? And the greatest thing, as I've mentioned almost on every one of these episodes, is we always have a choice. We're at a crossroads. We have a choice to be sad, buy into all the bullshit that marketing likes to tell us that we're getting old, that we should go quietly, age gracefully. The last fucking thing I want to do is age gracefully. I want to age happily. I want to age passionately. I want to age in a way that disrupts the world in the most beautiful, kind, joyous ways. I had to grieve the younger version of myself who used to be able to pass out on couches, wake up, and feel great the next day and go to work. Because that bitch does not exist anymore. I can tell you that. I have to have the perfect pillows, the perfect temperature, either some level of fan or white noise. Please understand there has to be perfect conditions and that I may or may not sleep. Last night was one of the first times in a while I have not woken up at 3 a.m. I feel like success. But the grief, my friends, is real. So I put up these new posts called Manic Mondays, and they're just, I found myself loving a lot of like 70s and 80s commercials, even 90s, right? And then little clips of either songs from the 80s or TV shows I like. And it was so interesting to me how nostalgic I was feeling. I had never felt that way before. But I would watch these and they would make me smile and they would take me back to not necessarily a time, but a feeling. And it was crazy because I was not alone because I started sharing because I just said, I'm going to start sharing what I fucking look at every day, what brings me joy, because my God, I think we need joy right now. That included Manic Mondays, which is a bunch of like fun 80s videos and everything else. Fluffy Fridays, which is just animals because fucking animals rule. Sunday Fun Days, which are just the funniest things I saw, usually quotes on the internet from that week. And then I've added in some other things along the way. But one of the ones that has really, really hit hard for people is the nostalgia videos. And I've got a ton of people, including women, saying, take me back. I want to go back to the 80s. And I think we forget, no, we don't. That yes, maybe we want the music or the fashion, but I think what we really want is the version of us that had a lot more hopes and dreams and optimism. I think what we really want is the younger version of ourself that hasn't been through the ringer, that hasn't had to deal with maybe lost friendships, divorces, breakups, losing jobs, whatever the stuff that life as an adult really brings to you. I really miss my grandma. She fucking passed away in 1989 now. That is so long ago. And by the way, I have no video of her because, you know, it was the 80s and we didn't have a video recorder. That's not something that the Sabins owned or could afford. And I saw this on Instagram. I got totally sucked in, but it was an app and it had a free trial and you could take a picture and it takes a static photo. So just a regular photo that I literally took a picture of, uploaded, and it turns it into this just like 3 or 4 second video. And I was able to take this picture of me probably around, I'd say 12 or 13. Oh my God, you guys, I had on the polo with my collar up, pinstripe jeans, the whole gig. And I was able to make, I'm sorry. I was able to make this photo. We were in her kitchen and she was able to turn around in this photo and give me a hug. I mean, I just fucking happy cried because it's been so long and I miss her so much still to this day. I think one of the toughest things about midlife is how alone we can feel. We start losing our guides, our foundations, our grandparents, our parents, our aunts and uncles sometimes that we really look up to. It kind of forces us to realize not that we're alone, but that maybe we built a life that's pretty lonely. And that goes back to all the Gen X shit that I have been talking about the last 4 episodes. I'm like having to wipe away my tears right now. We were taught to be quiet, to smile, to not ask for help, to not reach for community, to not reach for friendships. I said a while ago on this podcast, I don't think I was taught that women were my friends. I think I was taught that overall, women were my competition. I've had to loop that, relearn that, change that in my brain. That's all leftover bullshit, by the way, from the 1940s and the 50s, which if you ever go back and listen to the history of dating and relationships, you will learn a lot, a lot, a lot. But nobody really prepares you for this grief. Nobody really prepares you for the reflection of who you thought you'd be versus who you maybe actually are. Nobody really prepares you for our perimenopause is waking us up in the middle of the night or not letting us sleep. And we start realizing the life that you work so hard for doesn't maybe work anymore. And maybe you're not just making changes, you're just mourning the dreams that don't fit anymore, the version of you who fought like hell for those dreams, The certainty you clung onto like a drunk girl clutches onto her purse. Grief shows up uninvited. And it feels complicated because you're grieving maybe either something that didn't happen or something that did. But here's the thing, evolution requires shedding. To grow, we have to make mistakes and learn from them. I don't believe in failure anymore. I believe that it's life. Good things are going to happen, bad things are going to happen, and we learn to adjust. But here's the shitty part of this, none of us learned those mindsets or skills to know how to adjust, to know how to realign, to know how to look at our life if it's not working and where to go from there. Grief isn't a sign that you got it wrong. It's a sign that you're brave enough to outgrow what no longer fits. And that's beautiful. Here's the other crazy ass shit that I have realized since I have been digging deep into positive psychology, which has now been almost 10 years. I have my certificate. I took an incredible program. And let me tell you, everything I learned blew my mind because I didn't know any of it. I didn't know that most of the things that I was focusing on for happiness were not the things they've actually scientifically proven for happiness. Kids now are learning more about how to be happy than we ever learned. And I don't even know why we're not having these conversations more. I feel like it's fair to say if you grew up in the 70s, the 80s, or the 90s, most of us were handed the life checklist. And it looks something like this. You probably go to school and get a degree, you land a good job, you buy a house, maybe you find a decent human that you want to do this shit with. You might squeeze out kids. You accumulate gold stars and Instagrammable moments like emotional beanie babies. And the promise was check enough boxes and bam, happiness shows up. It'll be there. You will get to this place. As I mentioned just the other day, they've proven happiness is not a destination. There is no job, person, situation, relationship, friendship that guarantees you will be happy from now on. Doesn't exist. Just like there is no person that you can find love with, that love will just continue without you having to tend to it and build a healthy relationship around it. But that's what I learned. I learned that if I checked this shit off, my life would be good. It would feel easier. It would feel better. And I would just be living the best life, right? Living the dream. But that's not actually true at all. At all. Happiness is actually from daily rituals, little things that you do that helps you actually get present in your life so you can notice what's going on, feel actually what's going on instead of just thinking about it, and learn how to create daily habits and intentional choices for things like glimmers and purpose and connection, and laughing so hard that you pee a little, which our bodies do. I haven't even had kids and my body pees a little bit. Happiness isn't built on chasing what looks good or what our parents wanted for us or our partner wanted for us or whatever. It's built by figuring out what feels real and authentic to you. And by the way, that usually looks a lot messier than the curated shit that we have been sold. It's about going out of your way to notice the good things, the mini moments of joy. It's about being present enough to really savor them and take them in. It's about having a growth mindset so you see the world as an adventure instead of just something you have to get through. There are so many things that they have learned scientifically help make us happier, more content. And once again, this is not your fucking fault because we learned none of them. The science and the psychology wasn't really around when we were young. And as much as we might like self-help podcasts and self-help books, rarely are we digging in to do that level of work, to really, really understand. But I do have a couple of just quick things about happiness that they've realized that may blow your mind because they blew mine. Don't get me wrong. I love me a little bit of woo, right? I really, really do. I'm into energy healing. I've had theta healing. I've had my Akashic records read. I get Reiki, all of it. But I love the science that backs all of this up. And I love seeing my ladies in Thrive right now be shocked when they're like, oh my God, it actually is working. Oh my God, this is actually happening. I didn't really think it would, and it is. And I'm like, I know, science. So here are some mind blowing facts that I think everybody should know so that even if you don't take Thrive, even if you never work with me, maybe you get curious into what really happiness is about and start making some changes. Number one, happiness changes your brain. Self compassion work, which we do, gratitude, which we do, and purpose based reflection actually change your brain, which we also do. They calm stress and boost focus, and you can literally see the shift on a brain scan. So they have taken and done a brain scan from somebody before they started maybe either meditating or doing gratitude or things like that. And then a couple months later, retaken the brain scan, and their brain actually is different. It also helps your body. Smiling more, feeling connected, savoring small wins. Those things literally help your body heal faster, sleep deeper, and fight off illness. Joy isn't just a luxury, it's a health tool. Healthy relationships, which are one of the focuses of positive psychology, are the number one predictor of long-term happiness. And that doesn't mean you have to have a romantic partner. That just means you got to have friends. You got to have community. You have to have people around you who actually get you, know you, and see you. It's not money. It's not success. It's not even health that are the predictor of long-term happiness. It's relationships and friendships, real supportive ones that matter most. Loneliness, on the other hand, is more dangerous than smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Next, purpose adds years to your life. One of my favorite things, we are in the thick right now of the purpose work in Thrive. That's actually what we're working on. We just did a stunning values workshop. And honestly, guys, it was mind blowing. And they'll back that up. But feeling like your life has meaning is linked to better health, longer life, and even stronger immune function. We need a reason to get up out in the morning. We need to have things that we love and are excited about and passionate about. And it can't just be our numbing shit. That doesn't bring us long-term joy. Finally, hope is a skill, not a personality trait. It's not something you lost in your 20s. It's the ability to imagine a better future and believe that you can take steps towards it. And you can learn it, and guess who fucking teaches it? It's me. And not only do I teach you all of the science and psychology so you don't have to learn it yourself, I also make you accountable. We learn how to practice it and apply it, because otherwise, it doesn't matter if you know it if you're not doing it. But one of my favorite things about the work that I do, and I do this actually also one-on-one, is we do a massive life assessment. It only takes about an hour, but it allows us to look at what's working and what's not. It helps me know how to show up for you so we can put the focus on what's really going to create great change for you. When was the last time that you sat down and really looked at the different parts of your life? And by the way, it's not just like, do you like your job? It's also, where is your mindset at? Where is your self-worth level at? Where does your motivation come from? What's your learning style? I assess all of these things, and then we come together and create a plan for you to change while I annoyingly am up your ass almost on a daily basis to help you get there. I'll be honest, I originally was going to have some of my current participants on this podcast to tell you about their experience. I might do that in a few days. It just didn't get done in time. But I do have some really great quotes that they have shared with me and want me to share with you. And by the way, at least 2 or 3 of them are happy to jump on a phone call with somebody. If you don't want it to just hear from me, if you want to hear about somebody in the program. I love that one of the participants says, working with you long term has allowed me to witness patterns that I can't see myself. And it's absolutely true. We actually talked about it just a couple of days ago. I'm able to see what's kind of throwing her off, what is making her happy, because she's living in the minute to minute as we do, and I can see the bigger picture. I love that another participant told me how the meditations have become something she looks forward to every evening, and her entire evening routine has changed in a good way from these daily rituals. I love that one of my other participants said this, that Thrive has been life-changing. She said, I came in knowing I needed help, but I felt stuck, and Kira delivered exactly what I needed. Through her daily support, honest feedback, and unwavering presence, she helped me identify and shift long-standing habits. She was a coach, therapist, truth teller, and cheerleader all in one. I'm so grateful I said yes. This program is worth every penny, and I'm frugal. And she really is, guys. She really is. And I laugh because I know these women so well at this point. Even if you've done work before and it hasn't worked, if you're willing to keep trying, I will get you there. We are an early bird for a couple of more weeks. I hope you think about it. You can jump on a call with me. If you don't want to, you can go grab your spot right now. You can pick up the payment plan or pay in full for a couple extra bonuses, including an extra call with me, which, guys, is worth a lot. But this program is incredible, and I hope that these episodes helped you realize that you're not crazy, that you're not losing your shit, but you're just going through a transition in life, and it's not even a terrible one. It's an inconvenient one, and I will say perimenopause and menopause are not fun. Either way, I would love to hear your biggest takeaways. I would love to get an email or a message or a DM from you to say, I've been listening and I loved this, or I learned this, or I had an aha moment with that. It makes me know that what I'm sitting here doing, recording in my room by myself for a couple hours a day, actually means something. If you're ready for something different, if you're ready for having a guide and a community through this kind of weird time in life, and I'm not just talking about middle age, I'm also just talking about the state of our world, check it out. It is priced for high level support, and that's what I do. You have access to me every day, to my brains, to my feedback, to my pep talks, to my resource library, to everything. I am going to take you from burned out to feeling the fuck better with some hope and some pep in your step. Midlife isn't easy, but I also think it's a beautiful, beautiful gift. And you get to decide if you want to stay grumpy or if you want to heal and grow and change and evolve and become the badass wise mentor that you probably needed and didn't get. If you're ready to check out Thrive and just get more information, go to thrivemidlifeprogram.com. Once again, you can jump on with a call if you're not sure and talk to me for absolutely free, and I'll be dead honest with you because that's kind of who I am at this point. Okay, guys, that's it for today. You decide what your life is. You decide what your happiness is. Let me help you get there. No more surviving. Let's thrive.